The old relationship we had with the United States, based on deepening integration of our economies and tight security and military cooperation, is over. What exactly the United States does next is unclear. But what is clear is that we, as Canadians, have agency. We have power. We are masters in our own home. Nous sommes maîtres chez nous. We can control our destiny. We can give ourselves much more than any foreign government, including the United States, can ever take away. We can deal with this crisis best by building our strength right here at home. It will take hard work. It will take steady and focused determination from governments, from businesses, from labor, from Canadians. We will need to dramatically reduce our reliance on the United States. We will need to pivot our trade relationships elsewhere. And we will need to do things previously thought impossible at speeds we haven't seen in generations.
So we have a little bit of breaking news, folks. Canada will not be supporting the United States with military support in any war with Iran. Mark Carney has said that now is the time for diplomacy and getting the relevant parties around the table. Let me just say that again. Canada will not support the United States in use of its own military. Source for this, folks, is CBC. Let me know what you think about this in the comments. Love you guys to give me a follow.
That's all, folks. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research.
Howdy, folks. So, for those of you that haven't heard, dumb fuck went and bombed Iran, or Israel. And this is just going to escalate shit. And they're effectively pushing for fucking World War III. And with that in mind, I asked ChatGPT a simple question. How do today's U.S. military troop numbers and enlistment rates compare to during the World Wars and Vietnam? Its answer. Here's a detailed comparison of U.S. military troop numbers and enlistment rates today versus during World War I, World War II, and the Vietnam War. World War I, 1917-1918. Peak active duty personnel, 4.7 million. Drafted soldiers, about 2.8 million via Selective Service Act of 1917. U.S. population at the time, about 103 million. Percentage of population in service, about 4.6%. That was World War I. World War II, peak active duty personnel, 12.2 million in 1945. Drafted soldiers, about 10 million. U.S. population at the time, about 140 million. Percentage of population in service, about 8.7. Vietnam War, peak years 1965 to 1973. Peak active duty personnel, 3.5 million in 1968. Deployed to Vietnam, about 2.7 million. Drafted soldiers, about 1.8 million of total 8.7 million who served. U.S. population at the time, 200 million. Percentage of population in service, 1.7%. Today, active duty personnel, about 1.3 million. Reserve personnel, about 800,000. So altogether, about 2.1 if they call up the reserves. Total force active and reserve, 2.1 million. U.S. population, about 336 million. Percentage of population in service, 0.6%. To those of you who have children, either reaching adulthood, 20s or younger, You need to start talking to them about the plan. Because if these motherfuckers decide to start a multi-front fucking war, World War III, there's not enough fucking soldiers. And they're sure as fuck not going to send their kids. These authoritarian assholes will reenact the draft. And they will send your fucking kids to the meat grinder to protect the profit margins of their fucking corporate donors. Or their lobbyist bribes. So, yeah, like I said, if you have kids, you might want to start considering the plan to either get them the fuck out of the country, or if enough of you just refuse to fucking report. These motherfuckers do not give a shit about us. They don't give a fuck about our families. They don't give a fuck about what we need, want, or care about. They care about one fucking thing. Money and, well, two things. Money and power. That's it. And like I said, they're not going to send their kids to defend it. They're going to send yours. Because they're going to need meat for the grinder. These dumb motherfuckers are going to get people killed. Millions of them. Well, fuck, they already are. And they're just going to keep going until somebody stops them. So, to the younger generations and to the parents, start figuring out what you're going to do. Because if this shit kicks off, like I said, they're going to be coming for your kids. Bye.
When you look at the dollar bill, you see more than just paper. Look closer. Why is there an Egyptian pyramid on American currency? Why Latin phrases? Most people never question it. They're too busy chasing dollars to actually look at one. At the top of the bill, it says, Annuit Coeptis. That means our enterprise is successful. But whose enterprise? At the bottom, Novus Ordo Seclorum, the New World Order. They put it right in front of you, plain as day. This isn't decoration, it's a declaration. Look at the pyramid. 13 layers. Why 13? It's not just about the original colonies. Look closer. 13 stars, 13 stripes, 13 arrows, 13 leaves. This number keeps showing up. Is that just a coincidence? Or is it a hidden code? A symbol of power and control woven into the very fabric of our system. And here's the kicker. See the American shield? That's the true flag. But the U.S. flag? That's a different story. The stripes run horizontal because the United States isn't a country. It's a corporation, a privately owned entity operating under a different set of rules. The symbols, the numbers, the words, it all points to one thing. A system of power hidden in plain sight. The real rulers of the world don't need to hide. They just need to keep you distracted.
Iranian Supreme Leader is warning now the U.S. of irreparable harm if the U.S. joins Israel's fight. But right now, leaders here at home are warning of so-called Iranian sleeper cells. The Trump administration and the previous Biden administration have been concerned about Iran's ability to direct or inspire attacks within the U.S. for years.
That the administration is actively monitoring these sleeper cells here in the United States, given the current situation with Iran and Israel and happening in the Middle East. Like, this has long been a worry for the intelligence community. Sleeper cells by definition are people who are here, spies or terrorists, waiting, kind of inactive until they're ordered to act. Now there's this new 2025 Homeland Security Threat Assessment, which says we expect Iran to remain the primary sponsor of terrorism and continue its efforts to advance plots against individuals, including current and former U.S. officials in the United States. The previous DHS threat assessment from Biden said the same thing. Now, experts say, given the escalation between Israel and Iran, the possibility is very real, and our intelligence teams are working overtime. Here's Barak Senior. He's a senior fellow at the Henry Jackson Society.
As the conflict in the Middle East escalates and Iran is being targeted, the regime thinks to itself, okay, we are on our last death throes, and therefore we will go out with a bang.
Breaking news. We're going to war. Al-Qaeda leader has just announced that he's awakening all his sleeper cells. And if you've known for years, even from the Iraqi-Afghanistan war, there's always been sleeper cells here. He's stating to all Muslims to prepare, to get ready. So all the sleeper cells here in the country will start activating, will start awakening. And something like that, when it happens, things will start popping in every direction. We know something like this could have come. We've been talking about this for years. And now with Iran happening, this could be it. So, my people of America, people of all countries here in America, let's prepare. Just know things could get ugly, things could get bad. Just know where you're at, what your surroundings are, what things could come.
All right, so it looks like we're going to war. Last night, Al-Qaeda sent out a message basically stating that he is activating all of the sleeper cells. All right. The leader of Al-Qaeda said for every able Muslim to prepare, Now, from what the CIA has stated, how this is going to play out more than likely is you're going to have activity popping off in different cities, LA, Fort Lauderdale, Miami, Dallas, like just all across the nation. You're gonna have things just popping off, and there's gonna be so much commotion that they're not gonna be able to keep up with everything. Last year there was a guy that crossed the border. When they stopped him, he said, "You don't know who I am yet, but soon you will know." Now, the internet did its research. He was one of the main leaders from Al-Qaeda. So these are the type of people that we have here right now. Now, there's over 1,000 sleeper cells across the U.S. and things are looking pretty ugly, all right?
Iran has also directed its proxy groups to embed sleeper cells in the homeland to be activated. Experts we spoke to said that should the U.S. join these attacks on Iran, they may try to activate these sleeper cells, Kelly.
Iran's operatives in the U.S. will strike.
So you think we need to understand and remember that you've got Iranian operatives in the United States right now?
Yes.
Coming out today, White House is currently monitoring possible Iranian sleeper cells in the United States. Here's another one that came out. Trump administration boosts monitoring of possible Iran-backed cells in the U.S. as Trump weighs strikes. Highly vulnerable Iranian supreme leader may try to activate sleeper cells in the West as Israeli onslaught mounts, experts warn. So FBI sleeper cell warning list coming out this back in 2023. The first one is Washington, D.C. They know there are sleeper cells in Washington, D.C. all throughout New York. There's so many in New York. There's no specific locations, just the entire state of New York has sleeper cells. San Francisco, California, Santa Clara, California, Los Angeles, California, San Diego, California, Houston, Texas, Arlington, Texas, Dallas, Texas, Boca Raton, Florida, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, Orlando, Florida, Tampa, Florida, Boston, Massachusetts, Plainfield, Illinois, Chicago, Illinois, Cleveland, Ohio, Laurel, Maryland, Potomac, Maryland, Harridan, Virginia, Springfield, Virginia, Raleigh, North Carolina, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Charlotte, North Carolina, Detroit, Michigan, Columbia, Missouri, Kansas City, Missouri, Denver, Colorado, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, Tucson, Arizona, and Seattle, Washington.
Now the Democrats has been letting people in this motherfucker unsolicited with no paperwork, no documentation. We can't see who they is and none of that shit. And now Al-Qaeda has activated their sleeper cells out here. They activated sleeper cells. We have no idea what the fuck about to happen or what's gonna go on. And that's thanks to you motherfuckers out there campaigning to keep these people here. Y'all some stupid motherfuckers. The entire time y'all been out here being so empathetic and inclusive to every fucking body, they've been building synagogues, teaching these motherfucking people how to hate us right in our own fucking country. And now you over there fucking worried about some stupid shit. I can't stand you fucking liberals because now you done let these people in. We have no idea when they're going to attack, how they're going to attack, and this is going to usher in that AI shit to fuck over us. See, once these bombs and all this other stupid shit start going up because of the people you fucking Democrats let in, then they gonna fucking have surveillance on us and it's gonna be legal. They gonna make it legal because we can't get all them motherfuckers out of here. And y'all been building synagogues all motherfucking day. Everybody got a new one. Stupid motherfuckers.
This left-right paradigm is a political ploy. It works very well for those who know what they're doing. We find that the Republican Party and the Democrat Party both are pretty much in the hands of a relatively small group of people with a membership of about 4,000. It's called the Council on Foreign Relations. These are the people that are really pulling the strings in both the Republican and the Democrat Party.
We get a lot of advice from the council, so this will mean I won't have this far to go to be told what we should be doing and how we should think about the future.
People like Hillary Clinton know, even at that elevated position, Hillary Clinton, you'd say, was one of the big movers and shakers. Compared to the Council on Foreign Relations, she's not. She's a small fish. And she knows that she's got to get the approval of the CFO.
Here's my theory, and I could be completely wrong, and the internet probably gonna destroy me for this, but I think women that have more than 2 baby daddies usually have some sort of mental illness.
Really?
Yeah, because you're getting genetically modified too much. I think, okay, so this is what I know. Every time you get pregnant, right, there's stem cells that come from that baby, and them stem cells end up behind your eyes and your brain and your heart and your lungs and stuff and help your organs heal while the baby taken from you. And those stem cells will always stay with you, right? So that means that man is always in you. And that is why, the Bible says you will only desire your husband, correct? This is why you gotta use condoms. Because that baby better get up inside you. And the uterus is very porous, much like the mouth, right? So when anything goes up in there, it automatically, the uterus starts to absorb it. It starts going through the vaginal walls and all that, and the blood, it gets into the bloodstream, right? And so,
get in there.
So it takes like 6 weeks to get a man out of your system if you have unprotected sex. And it's because he's starting to bind to your DNA, right? And that's why it's couples, when they be together too long, they start looking alike. You start looking like him. Like, it's not, the guy don't always start looking like her. She start looking like him because he is genetically modifying her. And every time you get pregnant by him, you start to get modified, right? So if you get pregnant by multiple peoples, right, that's multiple spirits, multiple thoughts, multiple modifications from a different DNA strand to have mental stress. So, and then it's very evident, like what I'm saying is very evident. It makes sense because, like, you got all these dating apps, all these women like free sex, free this, whatever, you know, I'm doing, but I'm living it, I'm exerting my sexuality and all this, and I don't care if I got 5 kids or 5 baby daddies, whatever. Usually those bitches are mentally, they're struggling in so many different ways, not just financially, but also just like on where to focus, how to whatever, because you got too many different bloodlines in your life.
Too many kids.
Why women's body count matters biologically. I'm a neuroscientist. Let me explain. Studies show that women absorb and retain the DNA of every man they've been with via sperm. This foreign DNA has been found in the brain, organs, and reproductive system, but nobody talks about the consequences. And that DNA isn't just stored, it's used in creating future children. A woman's past men leave a permanent biological imprint. Ever wonder why some kids resemble an ex more than their father? This is usually why. While the father provides most of the DNA, genetic material from past men is also used. And it's not just looks. Physical and mental disorders can be passed down as well. The more men a woman has been with, the higher the risk of negative mutations in her future children. So ladies, your past doesn't disappear. Every man leaves a mark on your body and your future children. And fellas, think twice before having a child with a woman who's been with too many men, because you won't be the only one shaping that child. Disturbing? Alarming? Let me know in the comments.
Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research.
And now that Tehran sent a message back, they're screaming for help like a child who lit the fire and got burned by the flame. Oh, now is a tragedy. Now you remember what a hospital is. You bombed over 200 hospitals in Gaza. You hit a children's hospital in Iran. You blew up ambulances, dialysis centers, maternity wards. And now you want sympathy? Let me say this loud so the world hears. You didn't just bomb buildings. You didn't just kill civilians. You targeted the ones who were trying to save them. You murdered medics, unarmed, veiled, rushing to save a life. And you killed them in cold blood. Then you buried them in their vehicles, like criminals hiding a murder weapon. You didn't just kill people, you erased the proof. You buried mercy under the rubble, and now you ask for compassion. Here's the part that burns deeper. The world has been watching a live stream genocide for 2 years, on every screen, in every language, from every angle. And now, after 2 years of watching you bomb children with American missiles, you expect the people to feel something for you. You got some nerve. You want tears. Tell that to the mothers digging their babies out with bare hands. Tell that to cancer patients gasping for oxygen as the hospital walls collapsed around them. You want sympathy. You had 2 years of global silence, and that still wasn't enough for your bloodlust. You've been had. You've been took. You've been hoodwinked. The world was hoodwinked into believing you were victims while you turned cities into cemeteries. You don't get to cry now. Not after you made mourning a crime in Gaza. You don't get to scream now. Not after you silenced every voice that dared to say enough. You bombed hope. You buried mercy. You murdered truth. And now you want the people's pity. We don't mourn for war criminals. We don't cry for colonizers. We cry for the silence, for the crush, for the medics you left in the dirt. But something's changed. The world sees you now. The veil is off. The lie is dead.
This is the book of Numbers, chapter 24 and verse 20. And when he looked on Amalek, he took up his parable and said, Amalek was the first of the nations, but his latter end shall be that he perish forever. Call Lord Yahweh Shem Yahushai, all praise and glory and honor to the Heavenly Father and His Son through the Holy Spirit. Double honors to my apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well. Shalom to the whole elect and the elect lady and your children as always. Numbers. Obadiah. Chapter 1, verse 18. In the house of Jacob shall be a fire. In the house of Joseph a flame. In the house of Esau for stubble. And they shall kindle in them and devour them. And there shall not be any remaining of the house of Esau. For the Lord hath spoken it. Call Lord Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Call Lord Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahushua. Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahushua. Tawada Abba Yahweh, Tawada Abba Yahushua. Tawada Abba Yahweh, Tawada Abba Yahushua. Shalom.
This is a Fox News alert. News from the President of the United States that there has been an attack inside Iran. Just moments ago, President Donald Trump putting out on Truth Social, we have completed our very successful attack on 3 nuclear sites in Iran, including Fordo, Natanz, and Esfahan. All planes are now outside of Iran airspace. Again, this from President Donald Trump. A full payload of bombs was dropped on the primary site, Fordo. All planes are safely on their way home. Congratulations to our great American warriors. There is not another military in the world that could have done this. Now is the time for peace. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Again, that's just seconds ago from President Donald Trump on Truth Social, suggesting that those B-2 bombers that perhaps were on the way may have been behind this. We'll get more details on these 3 sites that the president said has been attacked inside Iran. This comes after days of negotiations to try to get Iran to the negotiating table. The president of the United States saying it would have to be unconditional surrender, saying enrichment would have to stop. We heard from negotiations in Europe that was not being accepted by the Iranians, that they would not stop enriching uranium. There was a thought that this could go as long as 2 weeks, as the president said he would decide within 2 weeks. However, 2 days is within 2 weeks. And now word from President Donald Trump that these attacks have happened. Again, interesting that 3 sites have been struck by U.S. bombers, and this again will get more information about the exact targets and what bombs were used. We expect that the GBU-57, the bunker buster, the massive penetrator bomb, may have been one of those used. Fordo is a nuclear facility inside Iran that is roughly a half-mile deep underneath a rock mountain-like facility that has been said to be the site of a lot of the enrichment capability. Esfahan, believed to be a storage facility for enriched uranium, and Natanz, another part of the nuclear facilities. They have several throughout Iran. It has been long described as a very difficult and tedious effort to go after these nuclear sites, but the U.S. for the first time launching an attack inside Iran. Again, the President of the United States saying all of the planes are out of Iranian airspace. The bombings do continue by the Israelis inside Iran as this back and forth volley between Israel and Iran has continued for some 2 weeks. We expect to hear more about this operation, not only from the Pentagon, but perhaps from the White House, although the White House this evening has called a lid, as far as meaning no one will talk after that. That may be changing now. Obviously, we have this Truth Social post from President Donald.
We're here. We are here at the FAFO stage. This is really bad. And if you appreciate my content, please engage with this video. I'm just going to read this to you. Multiple Texas farms shut down after almost 100% of workforce vanishes overnight. In a stunningly swift overnight change, some Texas farm operations had to shut down after losing virtually all of their workforce, an exodus triggered by the increase in immigration raids and increased enforcement. The ripple effects of these raids are the gift that keeps on giving and will be felt nationwide. Unpicked crops are now left unharvested. Livestock were left untended, and rural economies are on edge. The story isn't just a tale of woe for Texas farms, it's a warning for American agribusiness, food prices, and communities that keep food on our plates. I need you to share this with every Republican you know. And you don't even need to wait for their response. They just need to know what's happening. And this is part of my line of work. I deal with commercial farmers, including these small farmers, as clients, and I cannot tell you how this is the beginning of the complete collapse of our economy under this Project 2025 administration that doesn't know what they're doing. You talk about the immediate shuttering of farms, because this is actually what's happening. With the food, with the harvests that are lying there completely rotting, that is a loss of food to local food distributors, local grocery stores, local restaurants, hospitals. They sell their harvests, all sorts of vegetables, to businesses within the state of Texas. This is where you can go into your local grocery store, and now you're going to see hardly any vegetables or fruit, depending on what they're growing, or a shortage of meat. This is what's going to happen. Now, all of the other industries that support farming, you've got local pesticide, herbicide, fertilizer suppliers that are just, their sales are going to plummet. These farmers aren't going to be purchasing that. You've got H-2A workers who are now gone, migrant workers who are now gone. They were paying taxes. Even if they didn't have Social Security numbers, they were given tax numbers, tax ID numbers. So now you got millions of dollars just poof, gone overnight from these Texas communities. You've got trucking companies that are hired to haul the produce from the farms to the packaging plants. You've got packaging plants who wash the vegetables, grade the vegetables, pack the vegetables, whose sales are going to plummet. Now you're going to have other industries who don't employ either migrant workers or H-2A workers who are going to have layoffs. This is all under Republican leadership, not just from the White House, but from the Republicans that were elected in the state of Texas. And if you think this is going to stop at Texas, you've got another thing coming. And you want to know which farms are going to be impacted further down the road? They're going to be safe for now. There's a small percentage of farmers who are actually Democrats. And they understand how important it is to protect their employees, take care of their employees. Those employees who feel safe will keep showing up for work because they know the owners have their backs, which says something about these other farms where the employees are like, I'm too scared to show up. Let me add this final thing. This is going to impact farmers. They're at risk of going out of business. Who's going to jump in? The federal government, to compensate them with our tax dollars. So now our tax dollars is going to be used to cover the bullshit leadership of this administration on top of the overwhelming increasing tax dollars being used by this administration to scare, to deport, to imprison people with brown skin. Like, our tax dollars are not helping everyday Americans at all. And this is just the beginning. Under Republican leadership. Share this video.
Prediction for the U.S. These are my thoughts. These are my predictions. Okay? So it might not happen. But baby, one thing God gave women is an intuition. And many months ago, probably last year, before Donald Trump even became president, I kept having dreams of mass destruction. I kept having dreams of mass destruction. And the only person I told about these dreams was my coworker at the time, and we're not even talking anymore. But he will tell you, every day she will say, she keeps having dreams of mass destruction, of us just screaming in the middle of the street, running for our fucking lives. Okay? Filled with black smoke, and the sky is bright red, like reddish. Like as if it was filled with intense amounts of radiation. Now, I guarantee you, if we're all fucking still here, that this video will age well. My prediction for the U.S. is they are going to hit us with a nuclear weapon. You can let this go over your head all you fucking want to. You can let it go over your head. You can think that, because one thing about us Americans, we are very complacent and stagnant in this fucking country. And for some reason, we think we are invincible. Now, I'm telling you right now, I be binge watching this shit. I binge watch videos about nuclear weapons because I'm genuinely intrigued by that shit. I'm telling you that it's about to go down.
In the construction industry, it is critical that we don't miss this step.